Hi there, this is Jacob Nash, and this is a review of Module 36, Thinking and Language. You know what I just realized? That I had forgotten to put the intro on a few of the videos recently. Oops, but I'm not going to fix that. Doesn't take that long for me to do it, really, but whatever. Okay, so thinking and language, that's what we're doing. Language. Well, the definition, there's been lots of words that you're like, I know what that is. Well, you got to know the specific definition. Remember how we were like psychology and what's some other ones? I don't know. But it's just the way we communicate. That's what you got to know. All right, phonemes versus morphemes. Phonemes, a good way to remember oh, I'm so tired of this. I always accidentally knock the mic out of my ear. Uh, a good way to remember what a phoneme is sounds like phone, and a phone makes a sound. It's a distinct unit of sound, but you got to know it's not the same thing as letters. A lot of people will say, "Oh, each letter is a different phoneme." No, you don't really need to know specifics, but take these two words for example, bat and chat. Bat has three and chat has three. B-A-T, but at, and then ch at. That's what it is. You don't do k, he, at. You don't do that, do you? So that's how you pretty much know what a phoneme is. It's like a distinct unit of sound. Ch is one thing you don't do. If you actually said C and H separate, it would be kahat or something like that. Kahat. I don't know what exactly it would be, but morphemes, though, this is a combination of phonemes that have meaning. All right? And M meaning that you might remember it by that. Okay, what is grammar? This is just a set of rules that helps us communicate. Syntax are the rules of grammar. So we got to know about the babbling stage. So this is a stage for humans around 4 months in which an infant utters various sounds. So they might just say like random things like ga or da or something like that. But what's important is to never talk to an infant like that. You should talk to them like they know how to speak. Like talk to them like you would talk to anyone else, because if you don't, then that's going to make them keep talking like that. They got to see what they learn from you talking to them. So you got to talk to them like you want them to talk eventually. All right, receptive versus productive language. So receptive language, this is just recognizing sounds and their meaning visually. So this is what humans first do. They look at they look at their parent or whoever, and they see them talking, and that's how they can recognize. But eventually, they can move on to productive, in which they can now produce words, mostly by recognition of nouns and verbs. So they can babble, or they might say something like "go car." If a kid says "go car," they're not saying "make the car go" or something. They're saying I want to go in the car. But all they can say is the noun and verb. And that's when we get to this. One word, two word stage. One word stage is just single word speaking. So they might say doggy, mommy, or something like that. But two word stage that would say want juice. I want juice is what they mean. Universal grammar theory. So there's two people on this video that you need to know, which are Chomsky and Worf. Let's talk about Noam Chomsky first. So before we get to that, let's just do a game. Obviously this doesn't matter to the video, but am I alive still? Well, it looks pretty old in that picture. Don't know when it's from. I mean, it's a little bit glitchy. It might be from like 2011 or something. So I don't know. Let's see. Yes, he is 94. But you never like that saying but you don't know. He might not be alive when you watch this, but maybe. I don't know. But anyways, this guy, you got to know that he said that he came up with the universal grammar theory, that all languages have the same basic elements. So it doesn't matter what language you speak, it's going to kind of be the same. So we're going to talk about a contrasting viewpoint in a minute. Okay, critical period. This is a time period in which something must be learned, or it never can be, or rarely can be. Language is on a critical period. That's why it's so hard to learn a new language. You know, you might learn Spanish or French or German in high school, but guess what? Odds are you're probably not going to master it. You might remember it now as you're learning it, but when you're an adult, that's going to be the least of your concerns, likely. But it's way easier to learn a new language or your primary language in this critical period, which is around age 0 to 7. And that's why in a lot of other countries, like most European countries and some other countries, they learn English in elementary school versus high school because they're in that critical period. That's what's useful. So I know someone named Magnus who is Swedish. Magnus knows English very well, but obviously Swedish too. But he learned English in his critical period, likely. And that's what it's like in Sweden and a lot of other European countries. All right, aphasia. I think we might have already talked about this before briefly, but this is an impairment of language caused by damage to Broca's or Wernicke's area. So do you remember what these are? Broca's helps you speak. It's in the left hemisphere, frontal lobe. And so Broca's helps you speak. Wernicke's helps you understand speech, and it's in a temporal lobe. That makes sense. The temporal is for hearing, frontal is for making decisions or judgments. And if you see this actor in the picture, he has aphasia. That's the only reason why I included a picture. That's just an example. But you have an impairment of language. So maybe you can't speak, or maybe you can't understand speech, depending on which area was damaged. All right, let's talk about Benjamin Whorf now. He thinks, so remember the other guy, universal grammar theory. What about this one? Linguistic determinism. This is a hypothesis that language determines the way we think. Alive? No, not this guy. He passed away in 1941. But remember the other guy down here, Noam Chomsky, very much disagrees with this guy. This guy is saying that language changes the way we think. That other guy was like, doesn't matter what language you speak, it's the same. So that's what you got to know. These two guys did not agree, but were not around by the same time. Okay, who proposed that humans have inherent language acquisition device? That would be Noam Chomsky. He said that every single person, regardless of language, has the same inherent or just kind of automatic language acquisition device. So why can't associative learning processes fully account for language acquisition? Because, as Chomsky indicated, language acquisition can also be inborn predisposition, which can occur naturally without associated learning processes. What is the smallest distinctive sound? That's a phoneme. Who used linguistic relativity hypothesis to explain that speakers of different languages think differently due to the differences in their languages? That was Whorf. He said, different languages, different thinking. Chomsky was like, same. Who would have more difficult time learning a new language? Remember, adults, because all syllables run together to them, unlike with children who can see their separations after the critical period. What are sounds of language? Same thing as number 3, phoneme. What are the rules of grammar called? That's syntax. Done. So there you go. If you're watching this video close to when I made it, have a good Christmas, because I'm not making any more until 2023. So you may be halfway done with your psychology course. Let's see, module 36. 36 times 2, 72. Well, kind of close. So there you go. Bye.